So the next one we're going to do is the spikes. And if you look over here, you'll notice that the spikes kind of glisten every couple seconds or something. It's not a straight loop like this. There's a couple ways you can do that. So click on your spikes, edit sprite. This one we're going to edit ourselves. So I'm going to open the editor because there is no pre-made animation for this. Create new. I'm just going to call it shimmer. And all I'm going to do is see how there's solid colors here that are all the same color. Like this, and this are all the same color. And then this side and this are all the same color. I'm just going to change these to white each frame. I'll speed this up, but you'll be able to see what I do. The first thing I'm going to do is make multiple copies of this. And then on each frame, I'm just going to change which colors turn white. But I want it to stop on the last frame. So one way you can do that is just by adding a whole bunch of them. Now watch. So I'm just going to adjust the frame order a little bit. Let me put this one here. Okay, I like this one. You could do that this way, but I'm going to show you a different way to do it. So what I'm going to do is go to the frame that doesn't have any added animation, and this one's the last one, and I'm going to delete. And I want one frame that is the original way it looks. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's good. Yeah. Hit OK. And before we go in behaviors, go ahead, edit the spikes however you want them to glisten or shimmer. Don't spend too much time making it look beautiful. You can always fix it later. And when you're done, meet me back here and then we'll go over the behaviors. So pause the video now. So let's go into behaviors. We have our once block. We have our always block. But neither of these are going to loop it properly. Let's go to the animation real quick. If I loop this, watch what happens. It just keeps doing this. If I hit always, guess what happens? The same thing. If I don't loop it, guess what happens? The same thing. It's just going again and again and again. So what you want to do for this one, so go to your triggers, grab the timer. And for the timer, this is going to send out a signal every second or 2 seconds or whatever to trigger that animation. The animation is going to play through and then just stop on the very last frame. And then it's going to do it again and then again. With the numbers in here, notice how this says 1/10 of a second. So 10 equals 1 second, 20 equals 2. You get the idea? And I'm going to have it repeat forever. When I put it to start and tell it to stay on the last frame, this is going to keep sending out a signal every 3 seconds to run through the animation once. Let's watch. And you can see it here turning on every 3 seconds. I'm actually going to do a little quicker than that. Let's see, every 2 seconds or 2.5. Get this set up, play around with the timer a little bit, get it to something you like. And when you're done, meet me back out here. Okay, the final one we're going to do is the ground blocks. Now remember, these aren't ground blocks. These are ground color change blocks. They have to be different because we're going to put different behaviors on this. So click on your library, click on ground color change blocks, and then we're going to edit sprite. And now you can make whatever you want happen to this. What I did was I just create new. I'm just going to make it, call it color change. And then what I do is I grab this one and basically I see there's 1, 2, 3, 4 different shades of green. So I just go pick a palette with only 4 colors. Like that's the one I picked. And then for the first frame, I'll use the lightest color and just change this one. Then I'll add another one. I'll use the second lightest color, change this one. And change these, and so on. And then for the bottom, there's 4 colors. So I just pick a new palette. It doesn't even matter. Actually, I'll just do this real quick. Okay, so I have something. It's not the most beautiful thing, but it doesn't matter. There we go. I want you to pause the video, go create your color change animation, and don't spend too much time on it. Just get it to change a different color. So we made that animation. Now we're going to go to the behaviors of our color change block. And for this one, we have to ask ourselves, when do we want the block to change color? Well, we want it to change color when the player contacts it or collides with it. So we're going to use a collision block here. This is where object names become important. We don't want it to happen when it collides with any block. We want it to happen when it collides with the player. So when this ground block, this ground color change block collides with the player, we want something to happen. What do we want to happen? That's right. Yes, you said it perfectly. We want the animation to happen when it comes in contact with the player. There we go. I'm going to have it stay on the last frame when done. Hit OK. And I want this to happen when the player collides with this block. Let's see if it works. There you go. Okay. I want you to pause the video, and then I want you to code it so when she hits it, it changes color. Go ahead. Pause the video and come back when you're done. Okay, so hopefully you got all that set up and the animation works. And we're almost at the home stretch, but I want to show you something. Right? Now watch what happens when you go back. It resets the animation. For this thing, I would want a platform to change colors like that if it meant something to the player. Like, for example, right now she can't jump up here, but I don't want these things resetting and playing back like they are. But I got to show you how to prevent this from happening. And this is a very important lesson for other behavior blocks as well. Sometimes you want things to happen only once. And this final block I'm going to show you is super helpful with that. So if I want this animation to happen when the player collides with the block, but I only want to happen once, I have to figure out a way to shut this off after it's been used once. And the way you can do that is with, actually, why don't you try to guess? Which one of these blocks would shut off this or prevent the signal from getting through once this has played once? Well, think of a light bulb. If you don't want power getting to the light, you flip a switch. And that's what we're going to use. Now, this is helpful in a lot more areas than just animation. So something going here will shut the switch off. Something going here will turn the switch on. And anything going in here is the actual signal. So like if this was electricity going in and then out, that's where you would put it. So we are going to put our signal in here and have it come out the other end. And we're going to start with the switch on. Now the switch is on. If we hit play, you can see it's letting the signal pass through. But we want the switch to eventually shut off. When do we want the switch to shut off? Well, we want it to shut off when the animation is done. So you can route this wire back to off. Let me just go over that again. Once this animation plays and it is done, that's it. You don't want it to play again. So you're going to shut this switch off. And now every time the player collides with it now, nothing will happen because the switch has been turned off. But the switch starts on. So let's see what happens. I'll hit play. Boom. The switch got shut off. Now watch what happens when I hit that same block again. Nothing. The switch has been turned off. And I'll hit these other ones just so you can see it get turned off again. Ready? It's going to let the signal pass through, play the animation, and then when it's done, it's going to send a signal to turn off the switch. Here we go. Boom. Off. Off. And now nothing will change again. Pause the video. Go ahead and set this up. Mess around with it and see what it does. And then when you're done, come back and we'll wrap it up. So by now you should have 4 different animations that are triggered and behave slightly different. And you shouldn't be sticking to walls or going off the edge. Okay, good job. And as always, let me know if you have any questions or trouble with any of these lessons. Take care.